Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us and thank you for your patience as we sorted out the logistics there. This is our 38th installment of Nansen Office Hours, and today we have a special edition. Uh, right now at Nansen, we have a hackathon going on. Alex, maybe you can tell us a bit about the hackathon.
Yeah. So the hackathon we're doing is basically people can work on whatever they want. We're normally pretty busy at Nansen shipping features that our users want and so on and so forth, but we have a lot of ideas of stuff we want to do. So in this 2-day hackathon, everyone gets the chance to work on stuff that they have been thinking about for a long time. And so the thinking is we break out into groups of maybe 2 or 3 people, sometimes 4, but we try to limit it to 3. And then people have 2 days to ship something cool. So, and then we have a couple of like rewards based on, certain categories that we have defined up front. But, here we are in this virtual space office that we have set up. We are using something called gather.town. And so the original idea was that we would go around and basically ask people, what they're doing. We might have to do a version of that where myself or you, Daniel, will explain what they're doing, and we just see the guys on the screen, because I think there's some audio issues that it's not going to be so easy to get people to join the conversation, unfortunately. But nonetheless, I think we can have some fun, walk around in our little space office, and kind of get to meet the team, even though they will be sort of on mute.
Let's do it.
All right.
So if you are new here, if this is the first office hours that you are attending, normally these sessions are basically just an hour-long conversation between Alex and I, shooting the shit, diving into dashboards, finding some interesting things. Today we will also be doing that, time permitting, but we're going to start off with a little tour of our virtual office here, and then we'll see where time takes us. If you have any questions throughout the session, feel free to leave it in the chat. I'll be checking that periodically, and hopefully we can answer any of those questions. We already have one message in the chat. Well, we've got a bunch of GMs, which is lovely. GM to everyone out there, or GN, depending on where you are. And then someone says, Alex, hire me, please. Igor says, NFT office. Naresh says, Decentraland.
Got my Pango here on the wall. GM every day when I come at the office.
This is not an NFT service, to answer Naresh. Oh wow, Playturn has entered the chat. Playturn, GM or GN, wherever you are.
GM.
We're happy to have you. All right, but without further ado, I'm going to click follow on you, Alex, and we can get started on the tour.
All right. So we're going to enter the main hall up here. So I'm bringing Alpha Curator with me. He's like my Pikachu. And here we are. Here we are in the hackathon room. We have divided the room into private sections. And so we have different groups, right? So maybe we can go to the name got blocked by the whiteboard. That's funny. We can go to the Nansen NFT store. Hey guys. Right. So we're gonna enter the main hall. Oh, you got an echo here now. Hey, you're on air.
All right, now I'm muted. I think we don't have an echo anymore.
Okay, good. Yeah, so
I literally had the YouTube open to you guys, like watching it, so I didn't know if it was gonna sound was gonna echo.
Yeah,
there's a bit of a lag. The only problem is that the guys can't hear you. So I'm gonna you're gonna have to wave your hands.
Oh, Alex, they can't hear you. All right, now I'm muted. I think we don't have an echo anymore.
Okay, good. Yeah, so
I literally had YouTube.
All right, hold on. I think we got to step out of there.
Okay, now can you hear me now?
Too chaotic. I can hear you. because I can hear you through StreamYard, but I can't hear them when we're in there.
This is hilarious. Okay, but now you guys can hear me, right? Okay, you guys have to go on mute.
They can't hear you. Sorry, now get it. I think we don't have an echo.
Okay, now, okay, all you guys are on mute. That's good. I'm speaking. Brilliant. I'm getting an echo from somewhere.
It's you.
It's you.
Wow, this is very complicated.
All right, now we're good. So I can still hear you, even though you're not in that little group, but they won't be able to hear you.
Exactly.
They'll hear you on a 15-second delay.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we're gonna talk, and the guys are not gonna be heard. But basically, in this little group, they're working on NFTs, Nansen NFTs. And it's a little bit chaotic here. You see Diego, Colin running around. But let me briefly introduce these guys. So there's John, who's head of product, and he's not going to hear this, so he's going to wave in about 15 seconds. We have Hans Olav, who's a data scientist in the attribution team, and he's also going to wave in about 15 seconds. I don't know if they can even hear me through the YouTube, but let's see. And then we have Lars, who is head of attribution and one of my co-founders, waving. Oh, look at that.
Oh, now we got some nods.
Now we got some nods. Yeah. So this is how we have to do it because we can't get the audio through here. But yeah, so they're working on NFTs for Nansen. We're going to keep it a little bit mysterious, and we might move on to the next table and confuse everyone in a similar way. But it was nice.
I guess we'll wave at them. Good luck. All right. All right, I'm clicking follow on you again.
Okay, so maybe we should plan. How do we go into a room without causing mayhem with the sound? Should we just, because they can't hear us, which is kind of funny.
Well, we should be able to stream the audio from this tab, which is what I thought we originally had. But I'm not sure how that works.
Maybe if only you have the microphone on, so you kind of go in and explain to them that we are going to have to do the intro. So they're just showing their faces and they have to mute. Maybe that's how we do it. Because when I was talking, I got the echo, right?
Yes. Okay. Well, let's attempt that.
Okay. So let's go to, who should we go to? Dan. Maybe we can go to Liz up here.
Okay. I'm gonna unmute myself.
Okay, she's away from tab. Oh, there's Darren.
Hey, Darren.
So, okay, go for it.
Let's see. I think he can hear us, Darren. So just a heads up, the good viewers right now cannot hear you. So we're just going to give a quick intro on what you're working on. So you just kind of smile and nod. I don't know if you've got the YouTube tab open, but it'll be on a 15-second delay, and then you'll find out. And hey, Liz, as well. How you doing? I hope you heard that.
All right.
Yep.
So
cool.
Darren,
Alex is going to explain now.
Yeah. That's how we have to do it. So Darren is a research analyst, and Elizabeth is a research engineer, and they are working on Alpha Maximus, which basically aims to surface who are the top DEX traders based on their performance, similarly to what we do with the NFT leaderboard. And so they're working hard to parse out the DEX trade data in a way that makes sense for this task. And hopefully we'll be able to have some kind of DEX trader leaderboard after their 2-day stint trying to land this. So that's pretty much it for the Alpha Maximus group. Should we move on?
Let's do it. Thanks, Darren and Liz.
Thanks, Darren and Liz. Okay, let's go. Yeah, it's pretty confusing, but it's kind of fun to run around. So maybe we can just run around a bit. We just briefed Paul. Actually, maybe should we go and say hi to Nadezhda?
We should go say hi, but I think she wanted to stay low key.
We can go low key.
So now Now we're going to visit our shadowy supercoder in the corner. Okay. Is it even bigger than before?
I think so. So in here we have a shadowy supercoder, but she doesn't want to go on air, which is fine. But we just wanted to show this lovely animal that she has in her office.
That you may recognize from the Discord server.
Yeah, we like to use this emoji quite a bit. And so she's working on search and filtering of tables, which many of you have asked for. And it's going to make it a lot easier to navigate the NFT leaderboard, for example, if you want to search for, the NFT paradise, if you want to search for collections that you care about and so on. So yeah, that's what she's working on. And it's going to make life easier for both you and our team, who will be using that feature in many different contexts. And we can do a little dance to celebrate how fun it's going to be. Okay.
All right, let's keep going. Where does this teleporter take us?
Let's try it. Let's have a look. Whoa.
What?
Bam. Okay. Let's go back in.
Okay.
It's like the Rick and Morty thing.
Fortunately, so an interesting feature on gather.town for those who have never tested it before. You can only hear someone when you're in a certain radius from them. But since we've got the audio coming from StreamYard here, we can hear each other wherever.
Yeah. All right.
Should we try next? Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Remember to explain.
Hey, Daniel. Can you hear me? Oh. Hey. So just a heads up. People can't hear you. They can just hear me right now because we couldn't quite figure out how to sync up the audio. So Alex will give a quick introduction, and when you hear us on a 15-second delay, I don't know if you're on the YouTube, but you can just kind of smile and nod and wave.
Yeah. So Daniel is a senior research engineer with us at Nansen. Daniel was our first employee, actually. So we're very grateful to have had him on board for so long.
People can't hear you. They can just hear me right now because we couldn't quite figure out how to sync up the audio.
Maybe Daniel has to.
Maybe they can hear us. Because I was playing an echo.
Okay.
It's too complicated. Weird. All right, let's just keep going as we are.
Really confusing. Okay. So Daniel is working on messaging. Wouldn't it be nice if you could message between different addresses, so that if you see someone who has a nice NFT or some tokens that you want, you could send them a message through Nansen potentially. And then you'd be able to perhaps close a deal with them on doing something OTC or something like that. And so he's looking at messaging, ideally an encrypted form of messaging where maybe you could even, send this message on chain. But if we don't do it on chain, it could also be through the Nansen platform itself. But the cool thing is that you could communicate between addresses, not even knowing the identity of each other, which is kind of cool. So let's see how that goes with the progress on that. Looking forward to seeing the output. And we will leave you in peace, Daniel, to keep working on messaging. See you later.
Good luck.
All right. I think Colin is just playing poker. He's got a little poker table here.
Should we go join him?
Actually, maybe we could try a little poker game. Let's see.
Oh, Onur is here too.
You should join my poker game.
Are we in the same one?
Yeah, I think so. Okay, maybe we shouldn't be playing poker on national TV. International TV.
Where do you go here? Oh, now, okay.
So Colin is a customer support manager at Nansen, and he's working on Nansen Academy, which is intended to help people learn more about how to use Nansen and get people generally less confused, because we get a lot of questions in the Discord, and we hope to be able to streamline that a little bit more. And so that's what he's working on, in addition to sometimes playing poker with the rest of us.
He just tossed up a shaka. All right. Thank you, Colin.
Right. See you later, Colin.
Good luck.
Enjoy.
Where to next?
Akshay. Yo. No, he can't. He doesn't. Maybe he doesn't know that we're here.
Hey, Akshay. Heads up that we are now streaming. So you are live. Good thing we didn't catch him picking his nose or anything.
Oh yeah. There we go.
He just waved.
Yeah.
So Alex will give you a quick intro of what you guys are working on, and then we'll be out of your hair. So you just need to smile and nod.
Yeah. So Akshay is also a senior research engineer with us, and I actually don't know who Zero NFT is, but that's okay. Mysterious Zero NFT. So what they're working on is they want to basically make it easier to use Web3 for authentication. So, for example, if you have your address, maybe you should be able to log into Nansen with your MetaMask, or maybe you should be allowed into a special section of Nansen if you have a specific NFT. And so that's basically what they're working on. It's a pretty cool infrastructure component, and I'm excited to see what comes out of it.
Akshay just keeps smiling and nodding. All right,
okay,
thank you, Akshay.
To the NFT price estimation.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Hey guys, we're
hey.
We're gate crashing. The people can't hear you. Actually, maybe they can. Hold on. Let's.
I think they can.
Yeah. Okay. So let's give it a 15-second test here.
That's hilarious if they can.
Let's because there's a 15-second lag. So if you guys can hear us, can you just mention in the chat?
We're just hanging out.
Let's see.
Maybe we have to speak.
Oh, it says they just need to close YouTube. Okay, Max Sydney with the alpha leaks here.
All right.
All right. Well, let's roll with it. Let's see. Let's test. Owner, or Christian, you guys want to explain what you're up to?
So yeah, we are essentially trying to create a machine learning based approach to estimate the prices of the NFTs. We actually shared a teaser a couple of weeks ago for Pingos. So during the hackathon, we are trying to make it production ready.
Awesome. So what's the user experience gonna look like?
So we're hoping that we will be able to estimate the undervalued pieces and display it by comparing the prices with the listing price at the OpenSea. One other user benefit is that if you end up with a bunch of NFTs, if you act into a bunch of profile picture collections in the past couple of weeks and you don't know what to do with them, and maybe you would like to sell them, so you can go to Nansen and find out what is the fair price and you can list them. Otherwise, it's going to take a lot of time for you to jump into the Discord channels, look at the past listings, previous sales, things like that. But we are trying to reduce the research time here.
Awesome. Anything to add, Alex?
I think they can't hear me, right? Can I?
Alex, you're on mute.
Yeah, you guys won't be able to hear him, but the viewers can. Sorry, we're coordinating across some things.
But does this mean
I don't hear you guys also?
And I can hop in to. I don't have to be on StreamYard, right? Like if everyone can hear everyone.
I guess so. Yeah.
That's okay, true. Let's try that. I'm gonna shut down StreamYard and. Yo.
Yes.
So this works.
Yes, as long as you keep your YouTube muted or shut, I think.
There. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yep. Yes.
Nice. Oh, freedom. Okay, then we can actually speak with people. That's great. Yeah, we're pretty pumped about the NFT price estimation, and I also want to get a fair valuation of my Pengoose. All right.
Yeah, just let us know about the IDs of your Pingos, and we'll just bump it a little for you.
Yeah, exactly. I think I've memorized it. I think it's 4767.
Okay.
So
it's gonna be bumped.
Just double it. Yeah. Cool.
All right. Thank you guys for sharing, and good luck with the rest of it.
Thank you.
Projects are better than others. There's definitely some higher tier ones.
We're crashing your meeting.
We're just talking about art blocks.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys are on air now on international television.
How many views have you got?
Millions.
We probably have a few million viewers.
Over 50.
So 150 million.
No.
Wow. That's amazing. Okay.
Yes.
I'm in.
So do you guys want to give a quick presentation of what your project is about?
Yeah, sure. So basically, we're trying to build a charity tracker dashboard, which looks at any address on Ethereum we can find where you can donate to a charity or a not-for-profit organization. We want to find out how much is going into those addresses and who's donating, and try and raise the profile a bit. So raise the corporate social responsibility, or just generally say to charities, look, there's loads of people here, there's loads of apes really happy to give money to charity. And yeah, so that's kind of what we're trying to do, and maybe put an article out or a tweet out to support some findings.
Very cool. So do you think users can expect to see a dashboard of charity, the top charities and so on soon? Or at some point?
Yeah, for sure. Very soon, TM.
Soon TM. Very good. I must say I like your little corner here. It's very cozy, very artsy. And I feel like you have kind of like, you made a nice little NFT corner over here, artsy.
Yes, it's our breakout, chill out space. I haven't figured out how to sit down yet, so just dancing around on the rug.
Okay. Yeah, you can hold in Z to dance. For those of you who haven't tried it yet, it's pretty fun. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna leave you to it, and enjoy the hacking.
Good luck, guys.
Cheers.
Take care.
All right.
All right. Have we made it through the whole room?
Yeah, I think so. Hold on. Let me click follow on you.
So they can actually hear us. Let's see. Yeah, I think we've done actually the NFT guys. Oh, you can hear the fireplace there.
Yeah.
Diego is following us.
Both of them are. They're here for the tour.
Yeah, because you guys are actually in a different group, right?
Yeah. So I was in this private space alone, just getting bored. So I went to another group.
Okay. So do you want to explain your project here?
Sure. Yeah. So we're trying to build a gas Chrome extension, which most users who are using Uniswap or whatever have a gas extension. But we want to make it more Nansen-fied, where we not only can track the gas price, but we can also see the top gas-consuming entities, and you can hopefully click into those contracts and also just know what's happening, so you can get the alpha quicker, even if you're not in Nansen's webpage. So yeah, and then potentially having some type of post to Twitter feature would be cool. It's not necessary, but that would help with like marketing. So.
Cool, that's nice. So Alpha Curator, do you think you're going to make use of this in your NFT adventures?
Absolutely. Yeah, whenever the gas spikes, I'm fast on the trigger on checking what's going on the on our gas tracker.
Yeah, it's gotten kind of annoying where it's like at the top of every hour, I pretty much should just assume that I cannot make a transaction because it's just going to fly away, and whatever transaction that's probably not related to minting that I was doing is going to take an hour now.
That would be a cool analysis, actually, seeing what time of the hour the gas spikes at.
Yeah.
Just to confirm that.
I suspect that Friday midday New York time is when most NFTs get launched, NFT projects. I feel like I always get rugged by the time zone. It's like Friday midnight Singapore time.
Well, what are you doing sleeping? That's the mistake right there. This is NFT season.
Yeah, I feel like you're going out.
I'm not like sitting in front of my computer, right? But yeah, I should be.
Cool. Well, good luck, Diego.
Thank you.
Enjoy the hacking.
Thank you.
So what we could do from here, since we've kind of done all the tables, is to head down to my office and then do the actual office hours from my office.
Yeah, let's do it. While we trek out there, does anyone in the chat have any questions? I'll take that. Well, actually, I guess we gotta wait 15 seconds. All right, we are back here in Casa Token God.
Casa Pengu.
Casa Pengu. But yeah, some people were asking about what this interface is. It's gather.town. So it's in beta. What's the background there?
I don't think it's in beta. I think some of the features are in beta, but you can go to gather.town and set up your own server. It's almost like, think of it as like a Discord server, except it's like a virtual, office. And you can also make your own office and all that stuff. And I think it's pretty much like free up to 25 concurrent users or something like that. So it's pretty cool. You can set it up. There's some features, of course, if you want to pay for it. But we think it's pretty cool because it feels a bit like Discord, but of course it has this metaverse element, and it sort of simulates an actual office environment. In Nansen, we are in, I think, maybe 17 different countries. So, we don't really hang out much in the real world. In fact, most of us have never met each other.
Including us. And the co-founders.
Yeah, including us. And so we've never met in person. And Lars and Evgeny, my two co-founders, have never met each other in person. So we are kind of a remote first company. And this is like a pretty cool way to make it feel like you're in the same space. And of course, we are also metaverse enthusiasts. So we're trying to nudge the gather.town folks to add some Web3 features and NFT support and things like that. And also, I think they're working on a feature where you can easily jump between offices. So I know that CoinGecko also has a gather.town, which is probably even more fleshed out and advanced than the one we have. But if you could jump between those through some portal or like meet up at like a common plaza or something like that, I think that's when it gets really exciting. So hopefully they'll ship some of those features soon.
Yeah, I think it's super exciting because people talk about the metaverse and like, okay, well, what does it matter if you can have like infinite land, all that kind of stuff. And in the past, there's been sort of e-commerce NFT plays where they're like, oh, you can set up a strip of stores and they'll be more valuable because they're all located together. But actually, maybe it's just hanging out with friends. And like if you've got offices next to your friends and you guys all want to hang out in like a common space, then you can do that. That would be super exciting if there's like a cluster of office buildings where everyone can hang out.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm super bullish on this stuff. I think it's really, really fun. Okay, should we try to dive into Nansen itself from here and sort of transition into the normal programming that we do in office hours?
Nah, let's just keep doing this. Yeah, should you want to hop back in StreamYard and we can screen share?
We could try it from here and see how it goes. Let's see.
Can?
Am I sharing my? Oh, actually,
you
I
are.
will be sharing screen within your screen. Yeah, no, that sucks. Okay, let me hop into StreamYard.
All right, we can still see your screen right now. Heads up.
Oh, okay. Close. Okay, I'm gonna hop into StreamYard. See you there.
Sounds good.
Alrighty.
All right, I'm gonna do a little final dance to say goodbye.
Goodbye. Yeah, a little bit of technical challenges there in the beginning, but
worked out.
We managed to figure it out. So now we know how it works for next time. And let us transition into Nansen itself. Let's see. This is why you're all here. Let's see.
Couple notes from the chat. Isis says, I changed my avatar to a pengu to show unity with Alex.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
And then Johnny asks if this format helps productivity.
Oh, that's a good question. So I guess he's referring to gather.town, right? It's literally the first time we actually try using it properly. We've played around with it a bit for our weekly water cooler sessions where we just hang out together in a virtual format. But this is like the first time we actually tried being a lot of people in it at the same time. And I have to say, like, it's been pretty cool so far. There are some really neat features where you, as you maybe saw, you can like step into these private areas. So if you have a meeting with someone, it's really easy to just, you can leave them alone, but you can also hop in and join those meetings and then just leave. And that's really convenient. There's also like a broadcasting feature where you can, one of us can go up and present to everyone else without getting the sound of everyone else. So if you're doing a presentation or, speaking in a meeting or something, that's pretty cool. So I think, it's, we couldn't be in gather.town like all the time. That would be a total mess. But it's pretty cool when you're doing stuff that is a bit more social and allows you to, almost simulate the serendipity that you get from sitting right next to someone. It's just gives it a little bit less friction to interact with each other. And I think that's how it's cool.
Agreed.
Any more in the chat?
Yes. Well, so Justin asks, what's up with DotDotDots? Let's get to that in a little bit when we pull open the dashboards. Maxwell Chandler asks, can you guys please come out with more videos explaining how Nansen works? The ones you have right now are good, but I'd like more detail. Absolutely. It's something we're constantly focusing on, is how to make the product as usable and accessible as possible. So as you saw earlier when we stopped by Colin, who was playing poker, or at least hanging by the poker tables, he is working on Nansen Academy, where there will be more videos that make it more accessible. Right now we have a page called nansen.ai/resources. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's right.
And that has some, here, let me share your screen. That has some videos on explainers. I can't remember actually. Are these videos based on the old interface or the new interface?
I think maybe it's a bit mixed, but I think we've re-recorded some of them with a new interface. Cool. But yeah, this is definitely a good place to go. And even if it's in the old interface, I think you'll understand some of the concepts from watching these videos anyway.
Yeah. Are you sharing your full screen or your tab right now? The size of it is.
Is it small?
Yeah, it's more narrow. Oh, wow.
Is this better?
Yes.
Okay. Let me see. Like that, maybe.
Yeah, it should be good.
Okay. Yeah, that's resources. So you can go there. YouTube is good. Yeah. But it's a good point. And we're always trying to, I think, we're always trying to add more content, make the product easier, as Daniel was saying. And a third thing is we also try to encourage people in the Nansen community to create their own videos and their own content. And there's actually been some really good ones recently. So I think there was one by Justin Bram. Let's see, Justin Bram here. And so he actually, I think it's this video, how to find NFT projects early, 5 ways to invest in the right NFTs, where he actually shows how he used Nansen to jump into some NFTs. And he messaged me separately saying that what he did actually paid for his annual Nansen subscription, which was nice. And that sometimes happens. We can't guarantee it, but sometimes it does. So, you know, there's actually a lot of good content out there, not just produced by us, but our users. So definitely follow Justin. There are some people on Twitter as well that I would recommend following, like MEV Collector, who has had an insane run flipping NFTs. This was kind of the first iconic thread where he went from 30 followers to like thousands of followers in days. Now he has, 7,000 followers almost. But he does a lot of great content, how he uses Nansen. So that's useful as well. And then we also have Playturn, who makes nice summaries of these sessions. So it's kind of meta because he might mention himself in his own thread when he summarizes this one. But there's a lot of great content out there actually now on how to use Nansen. And I think there's only going to be more and more. And, we're going to keep running contests, and we're going to keep sponsoring content creators who make Nansen content. So yeah, definitely watch out for that as well. It's not only about the stuff we produce, it's also about what the community produces.
Yep. What else in the chat here? Okay. SB says, I know this would be difficult, but it would be good to make Nansen a bit quicker. The refresh can sometimes take a good few seconds. I agree with you. It is. We've talked about this in previous ones. It's definitely a tricky challenge. There's a lot of data being crunched.
Yeah. There's tons of data being crunched when you refresh typically. We do certain tricks, under the hood. We do partitioning of the data. We do caching because we read the stuff like directly, from the blockchain, put it into, databases that are more suitable for analytics, and then we run queries on those. There's a lot of stuff we can do to improve it, but there's a trade-off between having the flexibility to ship things fast, accepting that the queries will be a bit slow, versus fine-tuning these queries and optimizing them. So there's always a trade-off between the tuning of them versus shipping new dashboards and new features. But certainly it is something that we are very mindful of, and we want to slash the load times significantly. So definitely hear you, and we want to improve it.
Yeah, I always find it interesting when new dashboards or like new kind of queries and new dashboards are being created, and there's a discussion about optimization. Like when we were chatting with Daniel and Diego and John the other day, and we were talking about Entity Profiler, soon TM, and like each dashboard costs whatever, a few bucks to load each time when they're unoptimized.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of like in the worst scenario, like when we're just testing stuff. That's right, because you could actually end up with dashboards or even just tables that query like hundreds of gigabytes of data, or even terabytes of data in the worst scenario. Like if you're scanning if you have to scan like all the traces or transactions and internal transactions ever on Ethereum. But that's why we do things like partitioning and caching to prevent us from having to read all the history every time we load something.
Yeah. All right. Well, let us dive in here. Before we do, just one more. Justin is in the chat, Justin Brown. Thank you, Justin, again.
Oh, cool.
And someone asked, do we plan on launching a mobile app?
The other day, I was telling someone that I want to have a mobile app as well. And I saw someone added in our feedback.nansen.ai, which you should go to and leave your feedback for anything you want to see in Nansen, feedback.nansen.ai. And so we don't have specific plans for a mobile app, but I think it would be very cool to have one for things like smart alerts. It would be nice if you could, more easily, change the smart alerts if they're too frequent, and like you can do that on the go. And if you're, I don't know, having lunch or whatever, you get a notification on your phone, and you can then head to your laptop to actually make trades or whatever you have to do. I think also there are some, social features that we might want to roll out in the near future. For example, on messaging, where it would be cool to have a mobile app as well, if you could interact with other Nansen users. But I would love to hear, if you guys have thoughts on what would be helpful to have in a mobile app. I'm not so sure, like doing all the exploration and investigations, on a mobile format, it's going to be tricky. So I think the mobile experience is not going to just be like a, sort of trying to replicate the laptop or desktop experience. It would have to be used for other things, something that complements the laptop experience. So that's how I think about it from a product perspective.
So simple answer is maybe.
Yeah, I mean, the simple answer is it's not planned, but I would be surprised if we don't have a mobile app within a year.
Okay. All right. Good to know. All right. Let's, we got around 15 minutes left. Let us dive into the dashboards and hopefully find some interesting things.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the landing page, and I see this NFT collection staring in my eyes, Loot, and I want to click it, even if I'm
haunting you.
It's haunting me. I'm not going to make it. So what is Loot? Do you want to? I think you're a Loot bag holder, right? Maybe you can explain.
Yes, but I got in late. I unfortunately missed the mint, so I had to chase the divine robes as they quickly got more and more expensive and out of reach. So Loot is a project that dropped last Friday, and it is basically, maybe you can open one of these up on OpenSea just so people can see.
Yeah.
It is almost absurd in its simplicity. It's basically just items, a list of items on a black background. And so that's it. So the creator of this was Dom. Dom Hoffman or so. I don't remember his last name, but he was the founder of Vine, founder of Byte. And he has another project called Blit Maps, which has been kind of growing in popularity for the past little while. So Dom is kind of one of those rare NFT founders with a ton of vision, and is actually kind of creating new things, not just copy and pasting profile pictures or that kind of stuff. So the reason why people got really excited about Loot is because it really is an open concept. It was a fair launch, so all that you had to do was go to this contract and mint from the contract. But on top of that, it wasn't simple to mint. Basically, you had to like scrape through the contract and see what had been minted already, and then you would find the ones that are still available to mint. And so people started doing that, and then this whole kind of storyline started emerging around it. Maybe not storyline, but like this whole, basically like people got to assign rarities to things. Again, sorry, not quite rarities. They got to assign which things they thought were valuable. And so people started hopping on divine robes. And so sometimes now you're seeing people in their like Twitter handle with like a little kind of kimono looking thing next to their name. And it's because they have a divine robe. And so divine robe became like the S tier, or like the grail piece of Loot. So if you go to robes.market, you can see here the floor prices of these of any of these bags with robes in them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's like 600 pieces or like 600 robes in total or something. But it wasn't. I think that's 88 bags for sale. So it kind of is like a bit misleading when you come to this site. It's not misleading, but like you come to this site and you're like, oh, only 88 bags. This is super rare, but it isn't quite as rare as you will think. But because there's not too many listed, the floor got swept really hard. So yesterday, I think the floor got up to like 40 ETH at one point, and everyone was just jumping on these. But you always need to remember when there's these like huge floor sweeps and people are buying up everything that's for sale. There are people who got it for free, who are comfortable listing at anything below 40 ETH. Like even though the floor price is 40 ETH, they're like, wow, 40 ETH, I missed it. Let me list at 35 ETH because I want this to sell instantly. And then no one buys. And then, oh, wow, there's one list at 35 ETH. Let me sell at 30 ETH. And like, that's how a floor really retraces itself really quickly, because there's like just air between each of these price points. I'm not trying to FUD my own bags here because I do happen to have a divine robe, but I'm just saying, be careful out there when you're aping into these floor pieces, thinking like, oh wow, this is super rare. The floor price is just going to keep going up because it's so rare. It's not quite the case. Anyway, so there's robes market that got created. Then there's kind of derivative ones like weeb.market, which is where they highlight ones with katanas. There's one called like book club.market or something like that, where anything with like a tome or a book. Long story short, there's this whole lore being created about it around loot, and there's all these like kind of, I don't want to say derivative projects, they're more like complementary projects, like some where you can mint land, some where you can mint character traits. So Andy from Fractional did one where you can mint character traits, and those are called sheets, I believe. And you can have, I think like the highest score you can get for an attribute is 18. So people were really excited if they minted a sheet with like 18 strength, for example. So this is like a new meta, is what people are saying. It's like a new game. People haven't seen this version of an NFT game before.
It's very bottom up, right? It's like just make all these different Lego pieces, and then hopefully someone will put them together in a coherent way eventually. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, the idea is you can almost like pick and mix these different projects together. So you can pick the loot bag, you can pick the character traits, you can maybe have a generative character, and you can have generative land. And then you can just like, these are just ingredients for whatever game. And it's all open source, it's all community made. That's why people are excited. What will suck is when people start making like copycat projects that are just like watered down versions of this, and they're like, oh, why isn't this selling? Or like people are like, oh, this is crazy, but no one really, like the community doesn't buy in. So
so I think maybe we should look at some of the on-chain data around it just very briefly.
Let's do it.
So first of all, pretty cool to see Robot Ventures owning 20 NFTs in his collection that they started getting like 10 hours ago. So I guess last night, New York time. And one thing that struck me when I was looking at this is that there aren't that many holders, like, which is funny. Like it's called a fair launch, and I'm not fudding the project or anything like that. It's called a fair launch, but it seems to still be kind of like an inner circle of people who are into this, right? It's like almost 2,000. But you see many other projects that launch, with minting, and you have to pay for it, and you hit like 4,000 or 5,000 within the first week. Maybe this will do that too. Who knows? But that was one thing that struck me a bit. It seems like there are definitely, a few addresses that hold a lot of loot, looking at this list. You see even some smart money addresses like geo.eth, 191 pieces. Seems like they got 203 and they've sent out 12. Could be like you could drill down and try to figure out what they did, if they sold them or just transfer them or whatever. Lootproject.eth. So it seems pretty concentrated. Is a bit top heavy. The sixth Wi-Fi farmer. Cool. I think this is the kind of project that has like a lot of really smart people, like very, a very strong but maybe small community, almost like CryptoPunks, like kind of like an elite. If I just wanted to look at this, okay. So geo.eth also has been minting ability scores, which is what you just talked about earlier, right?
Yeah, that's Andy's project.
Yeah. So, wow.
So the reason, so they minted a bunch there, but they were free to mint.
You sold on for 29 ETH, by the way. That's interesting.
That was probably a divine robe.
Yeah, we can have a look. 29, and then a lot of them for like 2 and 3 ether. Seems like, oh, here's one for 9, and here's the buying. Oh, he was buying them really cheap. I guess maybe that was the equivalent of the minting, or actually no, I think they just bought them. Okay, I just want to have a look at this one to see if it is what we think it is. Oh, sorry. Let me go here, and then here, the ID. That's going to show the item which was minted, and then it was sold for basically nothing. Interesting. And then OpenSea.
Divine robe.
Divine robe. There you go. Why doesn't it have the attributes though?
So that's another part. It's because they made it difficult to parse the attributes. Basically, these are like .txt files.
Yeah. You have like, there's no. I mean, it's annoying to do this in a machine, in a programmatic way, to read out the attributes. Makes sense.
Yeah. The because there were no attributes, people were selling, like people who got them for free or just were part of the original mint process. They were just dumping them because people started paying like, I think the floor price quickly went up to like 1 or 2 ETH, and they're like, oh wow, I just got this for free, I can dump for 2 ETH. But they didn't realize the divine robe was the rarest. Or not the rarest, but like the best.
The best, objectively speaking. He says as a bag holder. Here's our friend Fireheart.
Yeah, 0x1d3 or something, I think is his name.
113D, yeah.
Or 113D, yeah.
Cool. But you can check out loot here. The thing that's striking about it is that if you go to NFT Paradise, it's like boom, solidly at the top in volume. There's a lot of volume on it.
So because we can loop back to loot afterwards, but someone asked in the chat earlier about .dot. This one was dropped via smart contract. You could claim it from the contract yesterday, I think, and it was just kind of came out of the blue, or at least I hadn't known about it before. Maybe there was a community, but it seems like right now a couple of the projects that have been hyped are these ones where you just mint straight from contract, almost like these like mysterious launches where there's not really a site associated with them, or like just a very basic site. And it's almost like pros only kind of thing. Like you kind of need to know how to interact with an Etherscan contract. You need to know how to click right on it. Maybe it would be a worthwhile thing just to quickly poke through here, and we can show people how to do that if they are curious. I think that would be high value. It doesn't show our dashboards, but just if they want to be able to participate.
If you wanted to click through on like looking at the contract itself?
Yeah, well, to show how to mint.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, so if you have the address here, you can plug it into Etherscan, go to contract, and then, well, depending on what you want to do, because you could also want to try to figure out what's the token URI, so you can get the traits if you want it to be very fast. Like here, if I go here, I'm just plugging in, maybe I'm doing this too fast, but I'm grabbing the token URI, which is basically going to give an endpoint, an API, and that endpoint gives the traits that you can read out. This is where OpenSea gets their traits from. And then you could also look at the image here, which is a part of that that object. So here it's this one. And so that can be useful too, like looking at the contract. But what you were talking about was you have to go to write contract and you have to go to mint, right?
Yeah.
Number of tokens max 5. So I guess 5. And then whatever the amount is, which probably you would need to figure out. Let's see. Can I see it here? Maybe here.
I mean, just assuming it's like, oh, NFT price number 3.
There we go. Yeah.
Is that's
hopefully
0.05?
Yeah, but would you? It's in Ether, right? So you wouldn't put this. You would put in, right?
Yeah, well, so you would put in 0.25.
Oh, sorry,
0.05 times 5. No, 0.25.
0.25.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's 0.05. Okay, got it. Yeah.
I'm guessing.
I mean, you could divide it by
by 18, I think, or
divide
10 to the 18.
Divided by 10 to the 18th, I guess. Yeah, there you go. That's
which
18 decimals in Ether. That's why.
Yeah. And so then going back to write contract here, and then you just connect your Web3 wallet, or like you connect your wallet on MetaMask or whatever, and then you click write, confirm the transaction, and then you're good to go.
Yeah.
The other way you can just kind of verify
at your own risk. Like, I mean,
yeah, sorry, NFA, not financial advice. In fact, we should have given the disclaimer earlier. Nothing you see here is financial advice. I don't think anything we've shown you could have minted in this time period anyways. So, but yeah, be careful out there. Yeah.
But so sometimes it's kind of nice to look at these projects with fresh eyes. Like I don't know anything about this project, and so how would I think about this looking at it? I'm like, okay, clearly it's a new project, has a lot of traction, volume is pumping, average price is pumping. You can see here that across the board it seems to be going up, although the floor sometimes is a little bit unreliable because there are people who might by accident sell something really low. So I kind of like to look at this chart because it gives you a more granular view of like how the market is moving, and you can see how the market's been going up, right? So you could just kind of see the contour around this cloud, and like the actual floor is like around here, right? So at some point the floor was like around 1.69, and now it's sitting at like maybe 1.5 or something, even though these guys, for whatever reason, sold really low, probably by mistake in some cases, or they're just in a rush or whatever. So I would look at this and it's like, okay, there seems to be some traction here. And then I would probably look at holders, like how many are holding. And it's like similar to loot, it's almost 2,000. That's like less than what you see on many other projects. But it's also a project that has fewer NFTs. So it's like pretty high relative to the total number of NFTs in this collection. Then I would probably have a look at, who are the top holders. Okay, Fleur.eth. I've seen them in a few other collections before. And so maybe I have an opinion about what kind of address they are. Like, do they normally hold for the long term? Do they flip? That's something that you can kind of build up your own address book on, which, you can actually do. Oh, not there. Here in the address book. If you want, we're going to make this more useful soon. And then the NFTer, I've seen them a few times before.
I think they were the big ones in 0n1 Forest, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. And you can do this. Like, if you don't know much about these, you can still click through and you can look at their track record. And yes, you're absolutely right. So they have 99 NFTs on that. And they seem to be a hodler because they don't have any realized gains. So that's kind of interesting, actually. So that's kind of bullish, I would say. Like, if I see someone who's not flipping, they're just like buying them to hold, at least based on their past history. Although this one is more, wouldn't say they're necessarily a flipper, but they have certainly realized some gains. Like on this one, they basically realized 120 ETH. So they they purchased 99 Ether and sold 21% of them, and realizing some ETH gains on that. Pudgy Penguins as well. They bought 52 and then sold 19% of them and realized 15 ETH in gains. So that can give you an idea of like, you know, who are the top holders of these NFTs. And that can be quite useful to understand like what is likely going to happen over the next few days or hours for that matter.
Yeah. Let us quickly hop over to, I don't know, maybe hot contracts, just to take a quick peek at Arbitrum and Eden Network.
Yeah, let's see if, I don't know if Arbitrum is here because I'm not sure it was actually a new contract, but we could jump into it anyway. So if we look at, we have it here on the side. Maybe there are other ways we could have seen this actually, but let's just jump into it. So this is actually, I'm going to go back here first. This is the Arbitrum. It's called the inbox. So it's like the bridge. And you can see a few different things. You can see that it started getting really active today because it launched today. And so there's a lot of transactional activity from this. It's a smart contract, which is what this little robot icon indicates. Oh, I wonder if it's actually the one we saw there, transparent upgrade. Oh no, it's not a new. You can see here it's been around since May, so that's why it's not in the hot contracts. But we can go to counterparties and you can see what's actually going in there. Well, there's Ether being sent in from a bunch of unknown wallets. HeavyDex Trader, Abyss.eth is putting 110 Ether into this. And you could click through and see smart money, but seems pretty flat. Like it's not, you don't have like an Alameda dumping in 10,000 Ether, right? It's like pretty small amounts, which is interesting. And you can also see, well, this is the Ether that's sending in Dodo. That's kind of, so Dodo actually sent in, maybe it's one of their like multi-sigs or something like that. Just trying to eyeball to see if I can see them. I don't.
Was it Dodo just tokens, or was it actually from the Dodo wallet?
No, it seems like it was the actual entity. So anyway, like 1%. Wait, let me, there. Now it's a bit easier to read. 1%. Oh, so 31 Ether. So maybe if I just click through to like, do I see one that put in 31 Ether? I don't actually. Maybe it's split across multiple different addresses. Anyway, you could, you know, try to look into this and what's happening. But already we know, okay, it looks like Alameda is not at least using this bridge yet, for example, or like 3 Arrows or whichever fund or market maker like Wintermute. So maybe that means if there's going to be any like liquidity incentives, which there might be already, I don't know actually, then there might still be room to get some yields here.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the best ways to profit in the crypto markets is either being early, being lucky, or being skilled. And so a lot of people, myself included, rely largely on being early and hopefully some luck sprinkled in there. And so that's why it pays to be quick on the trigger on some of these things.
Yep. Also to be a bit mindful of things like impermanent loss, and if you're doing any pool to liquidity mining incentives, because we saw with Avalanche and Phantom that, you know, there's a lot of incentives out there, and it was quite mercenary to the point where if you got in at the wrong time, you probably lost a fair amount of money. So yeah, you have to be a bit careful with that. You can go to portal.arbitrum.one to read more about like what projects are actually building on Arbitrum. And I saw a really cool analytics company here. Boom.
Oh, wow. Who's that?
Who's that? So yeah, we're gonna have Arbitrum support eventually.
Wait, why is that logo slightly different than ours?
Is it?
Have we refined the logo? That one has like kind of rounded tips.
Yeah. Oh, I think they just put it in a circle. That's why. Like, look at the other ones; they're all in a circle. That's funny. Okay, there's all. So that was, we kind of skipped through there to go to the Arbitrum bridge, but it's not so hard to figure out what that bridge is, and you can just plug it into. If you wanted to find this yourself, you could go to Diligence, Wallet Profiler, and then plug the bridge in here, and you will see what we just looked at. There are a few other things we didn't talk about, like Mutant Ape Yacht Club. It kind of feels like that's like a long time ago, many days ago. There
was that Saturday night?
Yeah, I think something like that. One project that our analysts surfaced that they thought was interesting is Eden. This one here, and this used to be called ArcherDAO, and it's a priority transaction network that protects traders from front running, and it aligns incentives for block producers and redistributes minor extractable value, or MEV. This I'm reading up the notes from our analysts who have looked into this, and so I think one thing that was notable is
hold on, because that was gibberish. In plain English, basically, or practically speaking, if you want to get priority access to being included in transactions, so like let's say you want to participate in an NFT drop or something like that, you can use Eden network to do that. So you can tip miners to include you in blocks. And I think there's something along the lines of staking Eden tokens to get better priority access. But yeah, it's basically like, when everyone's talking about MEV and all this kind of stuff, and like, miners being able to prioritize certain transactions, this is sort of a more democratic way where you can pay to get your transactions prioritized.
Yeah, I think this is one of the reasons why the guys mention it, because they saw a transaction with Defiance Capital, so they're a big holder, and it looks like they're staking into this Eden network proxy. So that's about 25 hours ago. So if you wanted to look who else is putting their Eden tokens into the Eden network proxy, you could click depositors, and this will open up the top depositors view, where you can see the top stakers. And indeed, Defiance is actually the third biggest staker, but there are two other addresses that hold that have put in even more tokens into this contract. 500 addresses, it looks like. Pretty top heavy. They're probably the funds that have backed this project. And the first Wi-Fi farmer is here. Look at that. Interesting. Yeah, so I mean, this is the kind of projects, the kind of project that you might want to look at, because you can tell right away there's some smart money in this.
Yep. Super quick before we wrap up here, someone asks, is there a way you can, what was the exact question? Is there a way to do a deep dive into liquidity pools in Nansen, trying to estimate how many tokens will be distributed at the end of an LP reward program? So maybe we can just quickly click in on top depositors just to point this nice Pengu in the chat in the right direction, and then they can figure it out.
Yeah, also, just since we mentioned liquidity pools, there are some stuff that we haven't really announced because it is kind of like in beta mode, but we have some pretty cool Uniswap V3 dashboards now.
I haven't even seen these.
Yeah, I looked at it for the first time myself today in production, at least. I'm actually not 100% sure if this is live for all users yet, but it will be very soon if it isn't. But you can check if you have access to it, look at projects, and there's Uniswap V3 overview and then pair profiler. So it doesn't exactly address the question, but if you wanted to look at, hey, what's happening with, I don't know, DAI or Uni wrapped Ether, you could click through on this and you would get pretty cool analytics on that specific liquidity pool. And so you see the token price, and then in USD, and that's the Uni token. And then you see Ether price over here. and it says the total liquidity overall per day, and it shows you the trade volume. And these ones I think need a bit of work to be more useful. But the cool thing here is that you can see the sort of order book here. It looks silly because there are some extreme values that screw with the x-axis. But this version is the same, but it's filtered down for smart money. So you can see how the smart money wallets have placed their ranges in this pool, which is kind of cool actually. And you can also see the fees generated by the pool and also the TVL for the different pools, because you will have different pools with different transaction fees. So there's one pool with 0.3%, there's one with 1%, which has less volume because people don't want to pay 1% fees. And then you have one which has even less, but the fees are so low that it doesn't attract enough liquidity providers. So it's not liquid enough. So 0.3% seems to be like the sweet spot for this particular pool. Anyway, so that was kind of a brief digression on Uniswap. But the question was about liquidity mining incentives, I guess, right? And you said we should look at top depositors.
Yeah.
So what do you want to look at then? Like we just looked at the top depositors for Eden Network. I'm not sure if you can claim Eden tokens from depositing. Like we could look at, if we go to recipients here, or if we go back to token god mode, maybe there's some distribution going on to
maybe just finding something on hot contracts and then clicking through on that.
Okay, yeah. Ether tulips. Okay.
Let's see. I think maybe we can click through on a couple of these.
Yeah, but what are we looking for
now? Just any sort of farming. So it doesn't look like anything on this first page, but maybe we'll see something on one of the later pages.
Yeah, I think, let's see, go back.
Like that Dino X alpha pool, yeah. Although 500.
Oh yeah, we can have a look. I think, yeah, I don't know if we have like a great way to discover stuff like this right now, to be honest.
Well, I guess, the question is there a way to estimate rewards? And the answer is it really depends on the tokenomics, I guess. So certain projects will set an emission schedule for their yield farming or their like liquidity incentive program. And so really what you're looking at is if you figure out how many people are in that pool and in what size, maybe you can just kind of roughly do some scenario analyses on, if there is X dollars locked in this versus Y price of the token or something like that. And just figure out like, okay, this is my projected yield, because really it does matter how much is locked in there, how much you're competing against, and then what the price of the token is. So that would be my answer. It requires a little elbow grease.
Yeah. I just randomly clicked through on one of these Dinox alpha pool, went to wallet profiler, so it has a lot of DNXC tokens. No idea what this is. Clicked on that. That took me to wallet profiler for token. Saw that there were only 31 incoming addresses, which is a bit of a red flag. Like you should know what you're doing if you want to put your tokens into this, because it's not broadly used. And this shows me like the top depositors into this contract. It doesn't really estimate the yields though, but it can sort of gauge the interest that people have in this smart contract sometimes.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. I think that is a good place to wrap it up. We still have around 36 viewers, which is quite nice. A lot of people stuck around for the whole thing. Before we wrap up, it is imperative that we tell you to smash that like button. Subscribe. Actually, I think we're at like 2,200 subscribers. Last week we were at 2,000.
Oh,
so
nice.
Nice
10%
10%, yeah, week over week. But yeah, thank you for joining, everyone. We enjoy doing these sessions, and we enjoy your questions as we do them. So thank you to everyone who participated today in the chat. And thank you to all of the lovely Nansen team members who indulged us in in that little interview session as we walked around our virtual office. Anything else to add, Alex?
If you want to see more like behind the scenes stuff, if that's interesting, let us know. If it's boring, let us know as well. If you just want us to stick to using the Nansen platform in these sessions, but we wanted to spice things up a bit this time, trying to experiment a bit with the format. So just let us know what you think about it this time.
Yeah. And if I mean, I guess the end of the videos are difficult to give in, to slam a bunch of info in here because a lot of people have already dropped off. But if you are still here, I saw some people asking about jobs in the chat. If you're interested, we have a page. What is it? careers.nansen.ai or nansen.ai/careers?
Nansen.ai/careers.
There you go. So check it out there if you're interested in hanging out with us in our virtual space office. And let's wrap it up there. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
See you next Wednesday.
Bye-bye.
Bye.